We tried to learn from every pitch that we gave that we heard a no from. And investors are great at telling you no. A lot of them are like, this is amazing, this is great, it just doesn't fit our criteria. When in reality, they're like, you're never going to succeed.
Welcome everyone to UpTech Report. This is our Founder's Journey series. Joining again with me is Johnny Hanna, who's based in Mapleton, Utah, CEO and co-founder of Homey. Check out part one of our discussion where he described their real estate platform for buying and selling a home, along with getting loans, titles, and home insurance. Now they're based in 5 markets at the moment, but soon to be expanding nationwide and beyond. I'm excited though to hear more of your founder's journey. You're not new to real estate. The company before this, Johnny, you said it was in apartments, correct?
That's right. Yeah, it was. We started a company called Property Solutions. We changed the name to Entrata, but we started it in 2003 out of college. We won a business plan competition, and it was property management software for the large apartment communities you see around the U.S. So we helped renters pay rent online. We helped renters lease apartments online. So our software was for the owners, but it was built for the renter, the consumer.
And you mentioned in part one of our discussion where you saw the problem of people were doing apartments, but not going to real estate because the process was just too long, complicated, expensive, which is why you started Homey. Now, this is 5 years ago, and you had mentioned what's the one thing you'd wish on 5 years ago was maybe not to take on the entire problem and change everything all at once. For me, for founding from the beginning, what was probably the biggest lesson learned then, aside from don't take everything on, but getting it started and getting the product up and going and people on it? What would you say is one of the bigger takeaways that another entrepreneur, another business leader could learn from?
Yeah, I think fear was a stumbling block. Man, it's not going fast enough. We're failing. Telling yourself these stories instead of just continuing to move forward. Not letting fear creep into your head. And when you recognize it, boot it out, get it out of there. And I think there's a lot of mental fitness tools to help you recognize that and to assist you in getting back to a place of truth and connection. So to me, that was one of the biggest things. Early on, it was hard to raise money. It was hard to get people to trust us. We weren't licensed agents. So there was a lot of fear that came with that.
You mentioned in our previous discussion there that you've raised up to 50 million so far to date. What would you say is the biggest mistake one could make when trying to get funding?
It's just hard. It's really difficult. I think we tried to learn from every pitch that we gave that we heard a no from. And investors are great at telling you no. A lot of them are like, this is amazing, this is great, it just doesn't fit our criteria. When in reality, they're like, you're never going to succeed, is what they're really thinking. So they're so, I don't know, they try to be kind, but it's not really helpful, So I think trying to get direct feedback is really huge.
You just ask them, hey, no, actually tell me what's really wrong?
Or okay, well, if this did fit your company, if real estate was a sector you invested in, what are you not seeing from us? Because that's such a common excuse. Oh, we haven't done many real estate deals. Our focus is on SaaS, companies that do medical supplies. I don't know, whatever it is. Right. To really get curious, because these guys are smart and they might see some flaws and holes in your business. And if you can refine that pitch, great. But if you can actually change your business and improve your business and then have the pitch really reflect that, I think that's helpful.
That's powerful to push a little bit further. Let's just swip out to another question from a different perspective. Funding is one thing. Getting customers and people on the platform, that's a whole other endeavor, especially in the consumer environment. Biggest lesson learned in order to get enough people on the platform that it's benefiting everyone?
I think we just tried to message what we did in so many different ways. We really hit savings and you don't need to pay a fortune in realtor fees, but that as we grew, we recognized that's not what everybody wants. Some people just want a really qualified realtor to get the most money out of their home, not save on fees. You can save on fees and still sell your home for hardly anything. And that's what a lot of our competitors accused us of. where our data shows the opposite. But yeah, it's getting that messaging right is a really difficult thing to do.
How long did it take for you to kind of nail in and hone that message? How many?
We're still working on it. It's 6 years into it. So yeah, we're still working on it, but we're really fixated on savings. Like we were just preaching that, pounding that, having that same message. And that's not a bad one. I mean, Geico does, the save 15% or less, like they hammer it too.
But it's net plus something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you can expand your reach. Like on insurance, maybe that's all people care for, but when buying or selling a home, it's not the only thing. And you can get a wider market if you actually hit service and quality.
And I appreciate your whole kind of change in heart there of going just from hard technology and no touch to high touch with technology. And I feel like that may be a nice combo for a lot of other businesses out there that are trying to streamline something and use technology, but maybe missing the human interface.
Yeah. And as founders or any business, like you want to rally around the idea, the mission is like, this is who we are. And if you get too prideful and stuck on this is who we are, you're not going to pivot to what the client actually wants. And we've done that. Like we've been so adamant on saving our clients money in this area, and the consumer doesn't care. They just don't care, and it's like, well, then what are you fighting for? Why are you so adamant on your position?
Honing that message itself so that they resonate and experience is one thing. What just practical tactic or channel worked really well in the past few years that you've doubled down on and would recommend overall when it comes to interacting with consumers?
We track Net Promoter Score. That's the customer satisfaction survey. And anybody who gave us negative reviews, I personally called. I mean, even if it wasn't a negative review online, they would just turn in the survey and say, this was crap. Like we hated our realtor, or we had these expectations from your marketing and got this. And that was so hard to do. But I would call, I'd send an email, text, and be like, hey, I'm so sorry. I'm the CEO of Homey. Like, I want to make this up to you. Like, I want to figure out, I want to get this right. Like, if you can tell me where we dropped the ball and I fix those things, and we have a process around it, that can be fixed forever. Mm-hmm. We're going to be that much better of a company. So I made countless phone calls, and I don't like to admit that we failed that many times, but we struggled early on. Like it took a while to nail it. And right now, like our client satisfaction scores are through the roof, and we still have a few clients that aren't happy. And I still try to glean knowledge from them. So I think that's the best thing to do, is talking to the actual consumer and then talking to your people on the front lines. Because some consumers, like in a consumer business, there's just unhappy people out there. We see it on social media, right? There's just people that are not super happy individuals. But talking to both to understand situations and have empathy, I think has been really critical.
Honing in on hearing what they actually have to say and then improving on it. Don't letting it just to go away. Thank you, be able to share just a couple tidbits of your journey that you've been on. I know there's probably hundreds more of lessons learned there, but I'm excited to see where you guys are going next. Definitely for those that want to learn more about Homey, go to homey.com. That's HOMIE.com, and listen to part 1 of our discussion where he shared even more insights and about their product and where you guys are headed. Thanks again, Johnny, for joining us. Good to have you on, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. Nice to be here.
Again, UpTech is sponsored by TerraLeap, TerraLeap.io. Learn how to leverage the power of video. And thanks again, everyone. We'll see you guys next time. Have you seen a company using AI, machine learning, or other technology to transform the way we live, work, and do business? Go to uptechreport.com and let us know.